Hey! It is time for the next block of the fireworks finale. Sew along.
It's going to be great. So Audra and Bonnie, take it away.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the firework finale Quilt Along with Missouri Star Quilt Company. I am Audra of Sew Dreamy Studio.
And I'm Bonnie.
And today we are making actually the final block in our quilt. There is an optional border, but really this is our final block of the quilt itself. And I feel like the name is super appropriate considering who I'm sewing with.
It's the Mother's Choice Remake.
It is the Mother's Choice Remake. So my mom's going to walk us through everything, and I, again, will be sewing.
All right. All right, here is our block. And again, you'll recognize a lot of things we've done before, but maybe used in a slightly different way. So we're just going to show you how to make one of each of these, and then we'll talk about putting it together.
So these elements themselves are very familiar. These corner blocks are very similar to the blocks we did in month 3. And then these flying geese units are very similar to what we did last month in the Whirly Gig Star, creating those star legs, just inverting your fabrics. So very, very familiar to everything we've built on so far in this process.
Okay, so like we've done before, we're just going to show you how to make one of each of these, and then we'll talk about putting it all together. So you need to grab your 2.5 by 4.5 fabric H and 2.5 by 4.5 background fabric, plus the 2.5 inch squares of fabric H and 2.5 inch squares of your background fabric. We're going to flip those over, and again, you're creating your diagonal lines.
And like we've said in the other videos, if you've gathered like we've recommended, gather your bag number 6 and gather everything per the gather section of your pattern, and you'll have everything there and handy.
All right, so take your fabric H and put your background squares again on an angle, this time bottom to top, left to right. We do that first. And then we're also going to take the background fabric with fabric H and do the same direction.
And I should say I misspoke a little bit by saying the flying geese are the way we've done them before. It's still a flying geese block, but it's constructed differently than it was last month. Yep. Last month we did the big square and cut it down. This month it's a little bit different. There you go.
Okay, and just like we've done in the past, we're going to cut off this angle. Okay, and then we're going to press it toward the corner. All right, then we're going to do just the opposite. We're going to make sure you got your background square, you got the right one on the correct corner. And this will be going the opposite way, left to right, top to bottom. And we'll do the same on the background square.
I don't know about you, but I always get scared I'm going to cut off the wrong side.
I know.
So my mom and I have been sewing together for a long time. She's a 3rd generation sewist. I'm a 4th generation sewist. And we both sewed a lot of things, but we actually didn't start quilting until I think we figured it out. It was about 13 years ago or so, maybe 14.
I don't think Charlie was born.
Yeah, so it had to be, anyway.
Okay. All right. So just like you see here, we're going to orient this with your point down, your background square point down. And then we're going to take it and put your fabric H point down and put them together in order to form the chevron.
And then what I usually do to make sure I capture that point again is to make sure when I'm sewing, I stay to the inside of this joining of seams right here, because otherwise you're going to lose that point. So I usually kind of put a pin there just as a little reminder to not jut in to that area. I'm going to make sure I've got this. And I said, I think in a previous video, I'll kind of like bob over a little bit sometimes. And you might think like, oh my gosh, my line's not going to get straight, but it'll be just fine. See how I did. I'm always like, did I win? Did I win? Hey, not too bad.
Well, pretty good.
Not a complete winner, but it's about as close as it's going to get.
Now I know these sections look a little odd right now, but when you put your squares together, then this extra piece will go away.
That 1/4 inch will go away.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so that one's that. You're going to have 4 of those for each block you make. Okay, then the next thing is we're going to make these corner units. So the first thing we're going to do is take a fabric D, a 2.5 square fabric D, and 3 2.5 squares of the background fabric. So we're going to start by sewing together your 2 2.5 inch squares.
Wouldn't it be nice if we just had someone we could always like hand our sewing to? Sew this together.
Yeah, really.
Although I don't know, I think the sewing is the part I like most.
Okay, in this case, you're going to press towards the background square. And then we're going to sew fabric, the 4.5 inch fabric D to the bottom.
So yeah, I think it's pretty special. I think because it's month 6, I'm getting a little sentimental, but I just think it's really special. Of all the things my mom and I have done, then now we get to like pass along knowledge. That first table runner quilt I made, it took me a year to bind it.
All right, and this we're going to press towards the rectangle. All right. Okay, then we're going to lay this out with your background square in the upper left-hand corner. And like we've done previously, we're going to put our 2.5 inch squares with diagonal drawn, running top to bottom, left to right. And then in the bottom corner as well, top to bottom, left to right. Audrey uses pins more than I do.
Mm-hmm. It's okay. We all sew in our own way. We all learn in our own way. Ultimately, it's about the joy of the process. Oops.
All right. And again, we're cutting off a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Oops.
Because I closed it for you.
You did it. And we'll press these open. And there you go. So each block in your quilt will have 4 of these, 4 chevron units, and of course your red square for the middle. And like we've done in the past, you'll sew the top 3 together, the middle 3 together, the bottom 3 together, and then you'll sew top to the middle, middle to the bottom, and just make sure that your seams are going opposite directions so they'll nest nicely.
Yep. And then, as every month, here is the scrappy version of this block. And I really, happy accidents. I loved how this one came together. Again, I'm really loving the plaid throughout my scrappy version that I'm working with. And it just feels very picnic Americana for me and very heritage. But I also loved how the fabric, the scrappy fabric I chose for those chevrons had that pretty floral frame. So I liked it very much. And for this one, again, you're going to see, and I'm going to grab it just to make sure I know, this block will assemble to another square knot unit. All of this is laid out in your pattern very clearly so you can see what blocks assemble to what. But ultimately, with the end of month 6, you'll have assembled your complete corner of your block, and then all of the assembly directions for your quilt are also at the end of month 6.
And at month 6 is where I step away from it because I've elected to do the throw size quilt. So mine will be done at this point. But Audra has elected to do the, what size is it, queen?
The queen size.
Queen size.
I don't know if elected's the right word. I'm pretty sure Mom said,
You're doing that one.
I'm pretty sure the conversation was, you're doing the border, right? And I went, yes, Mother. That's how that happened.
So Audra will take you on to block 6A, I think they refer to it as, and that'll be the border around the edge to make it the queen size. It has been a real honor working with all of you on this quilt. I'm looking forward to seeing my finished product as well as yours. So again, don't forget to post your pictures to the Quilt and Stitch America 250 Facebook page.
Yep. And I have loved this whole journey because I've taught a lot of things, but I've never actually taken the time to teach detailed blocks like this. But also to see my mom in this journey. These are the first videos my mom has ever done. And it's just been really fun to see her on this journey. So we appreciate you being here with us and being part of our extended family. We will see you on social media as we're posting our quilts. I will see you on that Dresden border. I might still rope her into the video. We'll see what happens. We can't wait to see what you make. Send us all the photos. We want to see you using them, having your picnics for the 250th, putting them on your porches. And we just think it is a beautiful quilt, and we can't wait to see your version of it. Happy sewing.
Happy sewing.